Welcome to Change Starts With You, a podcast by United Way Emerald Coast. I am President and CEO Kelly Jason, and I am really excited to be joined here today by one of my good friends and favorite vendors, Tiffany Merrill, who is with two organizations that we get a double whammy today, representing both Emerald Coast Vibe and the Place on Beale. So, Tiffany, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about who you are and those businesses that you are representing, please.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Tiffany. I was recently remarried, so the official name change will be Tiffany Bechard fairly soon.
Sure. Okay.
She got to change it on all the paperwork as a business.
Right. This will be a slow roll.
I get to it. Yeah. I'm a mother of three boys, business owner, obviously. I was born and raised right here in Fort Walton.
That's awesome.
Hobbies are so many, but there's no time. So I don't get to them very often. But I love to cook, which is great because I run a business that does that. Garden, which I never have time for. And travel, which you and I just talked about, is tough to fit in the schedule. So if I have time for it, that's what I'm doing. I have a degree in psychology, and I have 2 minors in substance abuse and child welfare.
I never knew that.
That was the track I was headed down, and then I turned to entrepreneurship, and that kind of took me on a different path.
Right.
But it's still a degree I think that I use
Absolutely.
daily.
Getting to know people and
Absolutely.
understand their motives.
Absolutely, yeah. Super helpful. So I own and operate Emerald Coast Vibe, which is an event planning and event services company, catering, bartending, linen rentals, event design, all-inclusive packages. And then I also manage a local venue called the Place on Beale, which is a great little spot for really anything. We host all sorts of events there, anything from birthday parties, baby showers, retirement parties, family reunions. It's a great corporate spot for, volunteer appreciation, training, seminars, continuing education. We love having Emerald Coast Foundation there, United Way there, tons of nonprofits, I think, use that spot.
Yeah.
It's
Well, it's such a good size. You can fit capacity is
120.
120. Okay.
120.
I feel like we've pushed it a few times, but
That's okay.
probably, fire marshal would say 120 or less, which is a really good size, and it's so affordable as well, which as a nonprofit, we obviously appreciate.
Helpful.
It's
Yes,
beautiful.
absolutely.
The renovations that were done a couple years ago are just, it's such a pretty, backdrop for the photos and really sets the stage for some meaningful events. As I was preparing for today, I went back to be like, when did we start our relationship? Like, how did this come about? And it was the summer of 2021.
Okay.
It was the first time that we reached out to Emerald Coast Vibe. I was still, kind of newer to this community, had been at this United Way for about a year and a half, had just navigated COVID, and we were ready to host like our first event.
Yeah.
And it was, our first event after COVID. It was our annual meeting, and we needed catering services. And so we reached out and we were like, I don't know. I don't know anything about hosting an event in this area, but we need a venue, we need a place, we need a caterer, we need all the things. And you all stepped up and provided the catering services at that. And we loved you, and we got such great feedback. And you all are just really great at helping your clients like navigate through, the process and avoiding roadblocks and things that we don't think about because we're not event planners and caterers.
Right.
How many times we've been like, who's bringing the linens? I'm like, oh yeah, linens.
Right. Should have thought about that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. We're now here the day of like, Tiffany, I forgot to do something. Like, can you please help? And you come in the clutch. So, we used Emerald Coast Vibe, and then we started using the Place on Beale has really been a backdrop for that annual meeting event each year, but then a number of our other trainings and workshops and activities. It's such a good location and a good value for our money. So I think one of the things that I really have just been starting to learn more about this past year is I really thought that catering was what Emerald Coast Vibe did.
Right.
And then now I'm seeing you all host your own events and that there's really some additional services that you provide. So I'd love to give you the opportunity to, maybe that's a myth or a misunderstanding that some other people have, and tell us a little bit about how Emerald Coast Vibe, like what all you really can do for others.
Yeah. So that's right. We advertise that we're a one-stop shop, and we try to stay pretty true to that. We've got such a talented team that it was very easy to go from just one service of, hey, we're great at cooking and making food look pretty, to, you know what, we can offer pretty much any service that they would need to pull an event off,
Right.
which, because it takes a team and it takes a lot of different services to make everybody happy at a party. So, we offer catering is our bread and butter. No pun intended. But and Sean is great. Sean's our head chef.
Mhm.
She handles that almost single-handedly most of the time. And then I have a team of event planners, which is what I would consider myself. And those are the brains that, when we get the calls from clients that are like, I want to put together a retirement party, but I just don't know where to start.
Mhm.
We step in and we go, let's have a sit down. Let's talk about what your vision is. And then, our goal is to bring that vision to life.
Right.
And it's never doing what we want. It's doing, clearly what the client
Sure.
is asking for. So you have to be creative and you have to be flexible and you have to go, that's not my style, but
It's where that
that's what they
psychology background
I'm gonna
comes
keep you
into play.
happy. Yeah. So we offer catering, we offer event planning. We have a team that offers bar services, which I think goes hand in hand with any sort of party. You want to at least at the minimum have a few beers and wines
Sure.
or a signature drink or just something to get people relaxed
Right.
and talk in, and a little bubbly is great. So and then I think a lot of people are unaware that we have that whole linen rental company.
Mhm.
And that's actually something that I added to the business, I think in 2022. No,
Okay.
yeah, 2022 is when I bought that and just, said, you know what, we're already kind of doing it.
Right.
Let's just grow it. And brought that in. And man, was that I want to say it was almost biting off more than I could,
Mhm.
handle, but it worked out good. With the team grows and we bring more people in as we add a new service. So, with it's kind of like with our powers combined, we
Right.
can offer just all-inclusive packages, and anything that we don't offer in-house, we know who to call.
Sure.
So, and I think that's really important to clients when they call us and say, well, I want this, this, and this. We say, we can do that. And I also want this, this, and this. We say, and we know who to call. Yeah. So you don't have to do any more.
Mhm.
We'll handle it. Let
Mhm.
us call somebody that's reputable, somebody that's
Mhm.
going to show up, somebody that fits in your budget, and we can vouch for their work.
Right.
So building that team of connections and networks and referrals is so important in this industry because your client calls and says, I need this, but I also need these 7 other things.
Right.
We got it. We
can
can
help you.
we can handle it. Yeah, we can help. So
Cool. That's cool. Yeah, you all are definitely busy and have your hands in a lot of different pieces, and your team is so fantastic and fun to work with. But I'd love to know, like, how did we really get here? You talked about a psychology degree, thought that was the road, and then how did you make the leap to really opening your own business?
I'm actually kind of glad you asked that one because a lot of people I think don't know this, they know me as Emerald Coast Vibe, but
Mhm.
they don't know what it was before that. So I actually used to own a cafe and a coffee shop
Oh,
that was located at the Fort Walton Beach campus for Northwest Florida and
okay.
UWF. And that was my first business venture. I opened it with a sister-in-law of mine in 2012. I was 24.
Oh my goodness, so you've been a baby.
I was a baby. In terms of business ownership, I think, of course, nowadays that's like, you got
right.
18
You better
year
have your third business. by
millionaires.
then.
Yeah, like what was I
Yeah.
thinking? I started so late, but yeah, we did. We opened a cafe, and it's so crazy because it was a coffee shop and,
Mhm.
and lunch items and breakfast items, but I don't even drink coffee.
Yeah.
Never drink coffee. And so
Same.
people were like, oh wow, you run a coffee shop. You must love,
Yeah.
tasting all this stuff. I was like, I
Nah.
don't even drink it. Yeah. Well, I have somebody else that comes in is like, is this good? So but I got a taste for entrepreneurship at that
Mhm.
point. I was a mother of 2 little boys.
Mhm.
One was born that year. So I had a
Wow.
newborn and a 2-year-old. And I thought, I I really love this working for myself,
Mhm.
not having to answer to
Sure.
a uniform and a schedule. Granted, entrepreneurs will put in 80 hours
Right.
to
Yeah,
not work
well, yeah.
40 hours. So there were some weeks that were like that, but I loved the freedom and the
Mhm.
joy of being able to do it on my own, grow it at the pace that I was comfortable with,
Mhm.
and it fit my family life.
Yeah.
I was able to be mom to 2 little boys and still, have an income
Sure.
that didn't pull me away from them constantly. So it was real. I was teetering on going back to school for a master's and thinking I was going to go down this route with psychology. And then I said, I'm just
There's something here.
there's
Yeah.
something here, and I could do this forever. Thought about
Mhm.
franchising, and then it kind of turned onto the catering track and just kind of ran with that. So it was a left
Yeah.
turn, from
That's so
school
cool.
to business ownership, and then within business ownership, like, you know what, I'm gonna do this a little different now. But I think I ended up where I'm supposed to be. So
Absolutely. Was anybody in your family an entrepreneur? Like, was it something that you saw somebody else doing really successfully that inspired you, or you just true leap of faith? I'm going to
no,
try
yeah.
this now.
True leap of faith. Yeah. No, my mom worked as an administrator here at the City of Fort Walton Beach Rec Center for
Okay.
20 years. My dad, worked a telecommunications job, and stepdad was military, and um, my brothers were kind of doing their own thing. Both of them had did military, and my older brother was in school at the time. Now. My two older brothers are both entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So it was like I started,
Right.
and I felt like I was behind because they were way ahead of me in schooling and education and degrees. And I was like, man, I can cut up. I'm losing this race, like the sibling rivalry.
Sure.
And then, and they kept reminding me, they're like, yeah, but you know what? You have a family, you have a business to call your own. We don't. We got degrees, yeah, and we have our jobs and we love our careers, but we're on different tracks, and they're equally successful. So now my brother owns a fantastic stem cell research company out in Arizona called Innate Healthcare. That's a slight plug, shameless plug. And then my other brother runs what I would call like a consulting firm.
Okay.
He's got degrees in everything I can think of.
Huh.
And anytime I call him, it's like he knows the answer to whatever question I'm asking.
Right.
So do you ever think about consulting people? And he's like, oh, that's a good idea. So yeah, he does that. And they both have kids now. So it's like they followed in my
Maybe it's
footsteps.
trailblazer. It's
It's your little sister
family.
Yeah, I was like, why don't we try this route? And they're like, oh, that looks good. I'm gonna try that too.
That's neat. Yeah. My family was very much of, you're going to start a career and you're going to end at that career too. Like, there's no such thing as entrepreneurship. You're not going to go out on a limb and try something, different. That just wasn't my parents' mentality. And so not one that I grew up with. And, I have friends that are entrepreneurs. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was just be like so stressful. I don't understand, all of it. But I feel like there's so many parallels actually to the work at United Way being really a small business, a small team. We have to operate like a business as well. And so there's, a lot of probably similar struggles, that we face as businesses. But I'd love to highlight, again, your incredible partnership with United Way Emerald Coast. And I'm sure working with nonprofits brings its own challenges and advantages. And I would imagine we're not the only ones that you work with sometimes. So is there really some benefit, or what led you to getting involved in supporting nonprofits?
I think that working with nonprofits is a hard thing. I think you have to have the passion for whatever that cause, may be. And I always had a passion for nonprofit and fundraising, and a passion for people, which is why I went to school for what I went to school for. But I served many years in church leadership. I did everything from church administrator to small group leader to drama teacher, worship team. I mean, it was just like whatever role I could fill.
Yeah.
I felt like I felt obligated, to give, like, oh, I can handle that job. So sign me up, almost to a point of exhaustion, where it was like, okay, let me leave some time for myself. But as business owners, like I said, we work, hours, just so that we don't have to answer to that 9 to 5, I think. Yeah. And it takes time to run a business. And I feel it doesn't leave me a whole lot of time to volunteer for causes that I think are worthy. But what I can do is use my business time to volunteer. So I think being able to give in whatever way we can, whether it's, charitable, financial, philanthropically, or it's just like, hey, I've got the talent that you need to pull that off. And you raise the money and I'll just kind of support from the background by bringing a service in. I think it's important, so it's encouraging. I think it fills your cup to go and go support a nonprofit and even if it's just going and catering for something you guys are doing and saying, you know what, let me take a stack of those flyers because we're going to another event next week. I'd be happy to drop those off and distribute. Every little bit helps, and it's so I think that is a big way that small businesses and nonprofits can help each other.
No, also just so good when you're at and participating at our events, like you also post about it on social media. Help us reach this broader audience. It didn't even cost you anything, to make that post. And what an easy way for you just to help us gain possibly potential exposure, to other future donors, volunteers, or people who need us. Yeah. So that's also really helpful, easy way that that you support the nonprofits.
For sure.
We've done a ton of events together now, and I have like some dates that I need to run by you after we do this. Like, team,
I like it.
what else do we have coming up? I'm gonna be in front of Tiffany, and let's get on her calendar for all the things. But you've done multiple annual meetings. You've done multiple 40. I think every 40 under 40. You've done our volunteer celebration. Is there one that has been really? I know you're working
Yes.
them.
Right.
I'll use my air quotes because I don't know why you are really working it. But you listen in. You pay attention.
You attend.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there one event that we've done together that really stands out to you as like the most fun or the most meaningful?
Man, that's tough
Yeah.
because there are so many. And I think this answer is going to be kind of odd because it was an event that I wasn't even present for.
Okay.
This past September.
Okay. I was wondering if you were going to say
It was
that
40
one.
under 40, and I was awarded the 40
You
under
were,
40, and I
yay.
wasn't there.
You're getting.
We couldn't compete. I had to turn down the RSVP, but my team was
Yeah.
there, because of course, for I think year 4 or 5 now, we've catered 40 under
Yeah.
40, and it's so, man, I can tell you, it's very honoring. Is
It is.
honoring a word? Okay,
It's a word.
as a business to be, reconsidered every year. Like,
Mhm.
hey, we must have done something right
Right.
because they're calling us again and again and again.
Right.
And so, 40 under 40 definitely stands out. Even though I wasn't present for that one.
Your team, before you get to that, so your team was so cute that day. They were like,
Yes.
"Can we FaceTime her?" And I remember like I was coming down the steps for whatever reason. We do it all in alphabetical order, so they
Yeah.
kind of knew where you're going to be. I'm pretty sure it was Sean and Sarah. I'm coming down, and I'm pretty sure you were like on FaceTime, or they were at least were recording it. So that you could see the crowd roaring in support
Yeah.
of Tiffany.
They were
Merrill,
ready to
one of
walk
our
across
40
that
under 40.
stage.
But it was so cute. And it was just, again, like from the outsider perspective, to see how proud your team was of you, that it really told me a lot about the culture that you have built within, your business, and how much your team really cares for each other is also really cool to see and to observe. And it's noted and it's palpable, when I see you all getting together.
Oh,
That's
I
really
appreciate
cool.
that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Was there another one that you were going to say that was a second favorite?
I don't think so. I do remember when we hosted at Waterview. Was it the annual
Yes.
meeting?
It was. We did the first brunch and bubbly
Okay,
there.
that's what I thought. And then I was like, maybe it wasn't brunch and bubbly.
No,
Maybe it
brunch
was the
and
annual
bubbly.
meeting.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was the event. That was one of the first events that I think I got to see you guys in full action.
Yeah.
Because normally we just kind of show up, do our thing, and go.
Right.
But because it was
Like
at
start
my
to finish.
venue,
Right.
it was at my venue, I stuck around for the whole thing, and I was there for the setup, and I was there for the
Mhm.
breakdown. And I remember leaving that event going, wow, this team has really got their stuff together.
Mhm.
Like, these girls, I think it was all women at the
Of
time,
course.
pulled off such an incredible. As an event planner, I was like, dang, I need to step my skill level up because they just put me to shame.
We use a lot of type A people. Get a lot of type A people together.
And
a lot
you
of
have
people
your
wanna, like,
notes. What I think people might not know, a little Kelly's secret, was there was like the page in the kitchen with us that was like, you do this. This is when this is done.
Yeah.
This is who's in charge of this. This is the time frame. I was like, wow, that's amazing. That is
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
type A stuff right there.
For sure.
But it
is, yeah.
works, and it was a beautiful day. It was almost sold out, wasn't it?
It was sold out
You
at packed
packed
first
the-
year. It was huge.
Yeah, you
It was
packed that
huge.
place out.
Something that set the tone. I think
Mhm.
we're rolling into our 4th year on that one. And I've lost complete track of any sort of time.
Yeah.
So y'all really helped us, get that
That was a great
initiative and that annual event started.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. What is, one of the biggest challenges that you would say that you have faced as a small business owner?
I can say without hesitation that it was learning strengths and weaknesses as an individual. You're not able to do it all. Even as a Jill of all trades, you can be multi-talented and multifaceted, but you just physically can't handle everything. And so I learned pretty early on what my skills and strengths were when it comes to operating and running a business, and what they weren't.
Sure.
And then probably a little too late in terms of business ownership, but I'd like to think it clicked in my head soon enough that I said, you know what, I'm not really great at these 3 things that it takes to absolutely run a business, crucial in running a business, and I'm going to delegate those. I'm going to pass those off. I'm not great at responding to emails in a timely manner. I don't check them fast enough. Let me bring somebody in who is diligent with checking emails, sending a response. I have no problem going out and networking and talking up, the business and putting in the plugs. I have no problem with public speaking. I have no problem being in a room full of people. I'm not too good with books.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't be running the accounting or trying to, figure numbers. So I'm gonna get somebody to do that. So, an encouragement almost to potential business owners or people that are wanting to take that step is you don't have to do everything, but it's crucial that you identify what you can
That
do,
self-awareness.
what you're comfortable with. Absolutely, that self-awareness of like, what, that's not a strong suit of mine. I'm gonna fill that role because then I can focus my time and energy on the things that I am good at and the things that are gonna grow and build my business. And I'm not struggling, with trying to do those things that take me way too long to do. So
we did some strengths based training as an organization, kind of learning like where does everybody really thrive, and then from the organization point, how do we pour more into that? You do more of that then, and this person is strong where you are weak, and how can you complement each other? And just again, surrounding yourself with the same people. I remember, one point in time, very when I first got here, we went through some staff transitions, and somebody's like, "Wow, Kelly, like your team is a lot like you," and they meant it as the most complimentary, sweetest thing that you could say, and it was that, I felt, oh no.
like we're all ADHD. Oh Jesus.
No, we're never gonna get anything done. And I know I have a lot of those weak spots or a lot of those blind spots, and I need to do a better job in the hiring process of identifying people that are gonna fill in those gaps. That there's, that just makes us stronger as an overall team. And so that was, I definitely agree that that's something you gotta take that gut check and that reality check. Where am I good? Where do I just trust somebody else, find the right person to fill in that void? But as you think about your team, your work, your bazillion hours that you do, your multiple businesses, your mom life, you spoke also at I just remember another thing that we made you do. You said yes with no hesitation. One of our early courageous conversations where you were very open and vulnerable about managing kind of stress and protecting or maintaining your own mental health. That's really critical, I think, to everybody, but also, being a small business owner and entrepreneur kind of adds a whole nother layer to that. So how do you try to protect your mental health and wellness or manage stress? What tips can I learn?
Okay, so I don't know if I have tips because I haven't, quite figured it out yet. But you would think the degree, the years, you never quite get there. But this is a big one for me. And a quick little story. When I was in the 8th grade, so I'm 13 years old, I suffered from alopecia areata, which is an autoimmune disease that attacks healthy hair. And there's all, different variations of this, but this was just an area. So I had like a silver dollar sized bald spot in the back of my head as an 8th grade girl.
Right. Yeah.
And I had just cut my hair. I was very athletic, very tomboyish. I had just cut my hair very short, like boy short. So there was no hiding it.
Right.
You could just see this bald spot. And I wasn't too, susceptible to peer pressure at that age. It was like, whatever, I got a bald spot, deal with it. But there was always that little bit inside that was like, man, what? Oh, everybody's looking at it. This is all anybody's talking about. And the doctors told my mom, it came out of nowhere. There was no family history of this.
Right.
So the doctor told my mom it was probably stress related. And you think, gosh, what is
stress?
What are you stressed at 13 years old? But
Right.
but as an adult and a mother of boys that age, I'm like, there are so many stresses at this age is going through that, adults kind of diminish, and just, oh gosh, what do you worry? You don't have to pay bills, So, so I learned then at 13, if I don't know how to manage my stress, I'm gonna be bald,
Right.
So, so I got my stuff together real quick at 8th grade, and I was like, okay, I have to manage whatever. I had to identify the stress first of all, which was important. And hard at 13 years old, because you don't really even know.
What's happening with your body, your mind, and all that, like
Changes you're going through. You're not even in control at that age, And so I had to identify real quick, and I had to learn real fast techniques, methods that would help me to just be able to manage when things were thrown at me like that. And I think that I did. I think that from that point on, I was pretty adept at like identifying when I was starting to feel stressed. And I've realized that there is no one. It wasn't like, okay, when I feel stressed, go take a bath, or when I feel stressed, go
this
take
is
a
what's going to
walk.
cause it, and this is what's going to resolve it.
There
It
was
only
no,
that easy.
if
Yeah.
only. And I learned, I think through all those years, I feel like I had to identify a lot earlier than most kids, because otherwise I was stressing about the stress.
Right.
And so there wasn't just one single response, one single method. It was whatever was working for me at that time. And that's changed throughout the years. That's changed with age, that's changed with parenthood, that's changed with business ownership. And so every day it's almost like I'm thinking and trying to figure out, identify what is the stress, and then how do I handle the stress? And it's always a different answer, it seems like, for me. I mean, I have found my go-tos, carving time out for yourself and finding a healthy work-life balance is always crucial. But, there's never going to be that like, oh, you know what, take some melatonin and that will be what helps you.
Maybe the magnesium that you recommended to me yesterday, is it going to solve all of my problems?
Problem solver. But it's not the case. It's just, and sometimes I think as the walk of life changes, the answer to that, how do I manage my stress, changes.
Absolutely.
And there's never just a one single, fix all. And I think that's important to know too.
It is.
Because it's different for everybody. How I manage stress is going to be a lot different how you manage stress, 100%. And you might do it for a certain reason. I'm doing it so I don't go bald. You know what I mean? Like, I got to have this on lockdown or else I lose my hair.
So our next ask for you then, Tiffany.
Jesus. Oh no.
We do this thing called Empower, where it's a mental health workshop for teenage girls. And we haven't yet engaged you in one of those, but my goodness, there's so many opportunities and ways that you could be involved, because it is all about teaching these young ladies, here are all these different ways in which you can build your toolbox to be able to navigate the next challenge that you're facing. So, we've taught through trained professionals, breathing techniques, dog therapy, dance therapy, all of these different things that might stick for them, just helping to boost, self-confidence, self-awareness, and give them the skills to navigate life. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
We get the next one. You'll be like, okay, Tiffany, like, how can you help, and how can you jump into this next?
Let me talk about my bald spot. Maybe
right? That's that time of life is super fun. I think that's also where I started really protecting my own mental health, because I had a birthmark, and so same way of everybody's always looking at it, everybody's always making fun of me. Thank goodness we didn't have social media, so it ended, at school, end of the school day. But I learned a lot of lessons probably around that same age of just trying to navigate being a teenager in today's world.
Now, we did a panel discussion, didn't we, for Empower Her out at Rosemary Beach?
So that was the Courageous Conversation. So that one was for adult women.
You see, we've done so many things that I just can't keep them all straight.
And all the different names.
No.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, it's time to get in front of
it's time.
younger girls.
It's time. Yeah.
Pour into them.
I'll try.
They need us.
They don't listen to me.
They
don't listen to any of
better
us.
you than me.
But I'll
try. But maybe it'll just be that nugget and that little breadcrumb that you're leaving for the day when they are ready.
Right.
So I'll be like, now this girl at one time.
Yeah, I remember that lady.
Something about this, and maybe I could try it. So,
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Okay. All right. Y'all heard it here. Tiffany just agreed to do that. Marley's going to be so excited. As we wrap up our podcast, is there anything else that you would like to share with other, small business owners, or just, other people or organizations about the importance of giving back, the importance of supporting the community?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's twofold, because as a business owner, you find whatever way, and as an individual, you find whatever way you can give to whatever cause you feel worthy, whatever is pulling at your heartstrings. It's good for the soul. I think it keeps you grounded. Don't ever underestimate the benefit of doing so for tax purposes. Wink, wink. Tax season is upon us. But finding the balance, I think, to give with time and effort, and financially, if you're able to, is crucial. Finding the balance is crucial, that your business makes it, because if you give too much and you're giving all the time, nobody's,
then you end up being the one needing.
Then the business fails, and I can't give anymore because I don't,
that's not good for anybody.
I can't support. Yeah. So, but taking care of yourself is first and foremost, because nobody is going to keep that business functional and keep it at its optimum, if it's not you. So, nobody's looking out for and cares about it as much as you do. And that includes your own personal health and growth. So it's, as an entrepreneur, you feel like you're the only one focused on this endeavor.
Mhm.
And you do have a team of supporters behind you, but it's not.
Really, yeah.
But you are the one,
Mhm.
that has got everything to lose.
Mhm.
So I think when you're able to, take care of yourself first, you're able to take care of your business, and that follows just naturally, because you're giving your best self to you,
Sure.
and then that spreads, that
Right.
spreads out and it spreads over. So finding, I think, where your heart is, and what you're passionate about, is where you put into the nonprofits,
Mhm.
because there's so many, there's
Right.
thousands, and you just feel so obligated to give to
Right,
all of them.
right.
And sometimes you go, I'm just make a difference with these one or two.
Mhm.
This is where I'm going to put my time and my effort and my energy, and I'm going to make a difference in this, this area, whether it be mental health or animals or homelessness or veteran care, whatever it might be. But that's, I think, finding where the passion lies and not feeling so torn that you have to help everyone
Right.
everywhere, because you just can't,
Just get
and you
started
say, you know
somewhere,
what? Yeah,
right? Yeah,
I
instead of
can.
going numb,
Right.
I can't do
Exactly.
all the things for all the people.
But
Start
I
with
can
one.
help here.
Right.
Yeah, I can help
Right.
here. So
Awesome.
did that answer the
It
question?
did.
Okay. All
It
right.
did. Thank you for all that you have done for United Way Emerald Coast. It has been so much fun getting to know you, getting to know your team, getting to work with you all at multiple events over the last almost 4 years, and just excited for the next endeavor that we do together, which is probably coming up sooner than later. So again, we'll have to stay later so we can chat, make sure we're on the calendar for all the things that we need
Yeah.
this year.
Yes. We need another
Yeah.
another
I know.
Ellie Tiffany meeting
I
where
know.
we're like, let you pull out your calendar,
Yep.
I'll pull out mine.
Let's
See what we
compare.
got going
Yeah,
on. Yeah.
you got it. Awesome. But thank you. Thank you to your team as well. They are rock stars. And again, you guys are so much fun to work with, and we really appreciate all that you do. So keep up the great work here in the community. We'll make sure that we drop your contact information for both Emerald Coast Vibe and the Place on Beale, and definitely encourage all of our followers to please go and check them out and see how you can use their services here in our community, because they come with our highest recommendations. We love them. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Change Starts With You, and we hope to see you again soon.